There's a breakfast sitting in millions of kitchens right now that people eat precisely because they believe it's good for them. It's on the counter in a tidy little packet. The box says heart healthy. The label whispers words like fiber, whole grain, and natural. And every single morning, that healthy breakfast may be quietly aging you, not on the surface where you can see it, but deep inside your cells, your skin, and your arteries. Here's the part almost nobody explains. When certain foods spike your blood sugar fast, that extra sugar doesn't just float around harmlessly. Researchers have studied a process where sugar molecules attach to the proteins in your body, including collagen, the very thing that keeps skin firm and arteries flexible. Scientists call the byproducts advanced glycation end products. The nickname fits perfectly, AGEs, and the more of them you accumulate, the more that natural firmness and flexibility can be affected over time. So think about that. Every morning you keep eating this particular breakfast, believing you're doing something kind for your body. You may actually be adding a little more wear to your skin and your blood vessels. Not because you're careless, because you were told this food was one of the good ones. And that's what makes this so frustrating. The problem isn't the bacon everyone loves to blame. It isn't the eggs your doctor warned you about years ago. It's something far more innocent looking, something wearing a health halo so convincing that most experts still recommend it without a second thought. If you've been eating clean and still feel tired, puffy, or older than you should, this could be why. But before you blame yourself, before you assume it's your age, your genes, or your willpower, here's what almost nobody tells you. Let's clear away the usual suspects first, because I promise you've been pointing your finger in the wrong direction for years. It's not the eggs. For decades, people were terrified of eggs, convinced every yolk was clogging an artery. The research has walked much of that fear back. For most people, eggs are one of the most nutrient dense foods you can put on a plate. It's not the fat either, not the butter in your pan, not the fat in a piece of real cheese. We spent a whole generation afraid of dietary fat. And where did that get us? Fatter and more tired than ever. Fat isn't the villain in this story. And here's the one that surprises people the most: it's not even the calories. You can eat a breakfast that's perfectly reasonable in calories and still trigger the exact process that ages you from the inside out. Counting calories completely misses the real problem. So if it's not the eggs, not the fat, and not the calories, what is it? It's the fast sugar, the refined, quick digesting carbohydrates that flood your bloodstream within minutes, the kind that hide inside foods marketed as the healthiest choices on the shelf. And they are everywhere at breakfast. They're in the flavored instant oatmeal packets that dissolve into sweet mush. They're in the granola, sprinkled on top like health confetti, often loaded with added sugar. They're in the flavored yogurt cups that can carry as much sugar as dessert. They're in the whole grain toast that behaves a lot like white bread once it hits your body. And they're hiding in that innocent glass of fruit juice, which is essentially sugar water with the fiber stripped out. Each one alone can send your blood sugar climbing. Studies on how different foods raise blood sugar back this up again and again. But here's the thing: there's one breakfast in particular that combines all the worst offenders into a single socks look healthy meal. And odds are you've eaten it this week. It's the classic healthy morning combo: a bowl of flavored instant oatmeal, a cup of sweetened yogurt on the side, and a glass of orange juice to wash it all down. It looks like the poster child for responsible eating. It's the exact breakfast a well meaning magazine would tell you to eat, and at the center of it sits the biggest offender of all: flavored instant oatmeal. Now, before oat lovers panic, Oats themselves aren't the enemy. Real, minimally processed oats can be a genuinely good food, but that is not what's in most packets. The instant kind is milled thin and pre cooked so it can turn to mush in 60 seconds. That convenience comes at a cost. The more processed and broken down an oat is, the faster your body turns it into sugar. Research on glycemic index generally shows that instant oats raise blood sugar more quickly than thick, steel cut oats. Then add the flavoring. Those apple cinnamon and maple brown sugar packets can pack in a striking amount of added sugar before you've taken a single bite. So the marketing tells you fiber, heart healthy, whole grain, all technically true words on the box. But the reality in the bowl is a fast, sweet sugar surge dressed up in a health costume. Pair it with sweet yogurt and juice, and you've stacked three sugar spikes on top of each other first thing in the morning, on an empty stomach, when your body is most sensitive to them. That's the trap. It's not junk food, it's health food that behaves like junk food once it's inside you. And that's exactly why it slipped past you, past your friends, and maybe even past your doctor for years. To understand why this really ages you, you need to see what happens in your body in the 30 minutes after that first bite. Picture that first spoonful going down. Within minutes, all that fast sugar floods into your bloodstream like a wave. Your blood sugar shoots up. Your body doesn't like that spike, so it sounds an alarm. Your pancreas releases a hormone called insulin, a lot of it, to rush that sugar out of your blood and shove it into storage. Insulin is essentially your body's traffic cop, waving the sugar off the road as fast as it can. But here's the catch: when the surge is big, the cleanup often overshoots. Your blood sugar doesn't glide back to normal, it crashes below where it started. And a crash feels like a crash. Suddenly you're tired, foggy, and hungry again, even though you just ate. So you reach for another quick bite, and the whole roller coaster starts over. Up, down, crave, repeat. That cycle alone is exhausting, but it's not the part that ages you. This is, while all that sugar is riding around in your blood, some of it does something troubling. It sticks to proteins. Scientists have studied how sugar molecules bind to proteins in a process called glycation, forming those advanced glycation end products, the AG as I mentioned earlier. Now, why should you care? Because two of the proteins most vulnerable to this are collagen and elastin. Collagen is the scaffolding that keeps your skin plump and springy. Elastin is what lets it bounce back. Research suggests that when sugar cross-links these fibers, they can become stiff and brittle instead of soft and flexible. Think of a fresh rubber band versus one that's been left in a hot drawer for years, dry, hard, cracking. That's the direction glycation can push your tissues. On your face, that can show up as looser skin, deeper lines, a tired dullness. Inside your arteries, that same stiffening process has been linked to reduced flexibility. And the constant insulin surges, they encourage your body to store fat, especially the stubborn belly kind. So the fatigue, the cravings, the softening skin, the weight that won't budge, they may not be separate problems at all. They may be branches of the same root. And if you've noticed any of these signs lately, this next part is going to feel personal. Let me describe a morning, and you tell me if it sounds familiar. You wake up and eat what you've been told is a healthy breakfast. You feel good about it. You're doing the right thing. Then around 10 o'clock, out of nowhere, the wall hits. Your energy just drains out of you. Your eyelids get heavy. You could put your head down on the desk right there. Your brain gets foggy too. You walk into a room and forget why. You read the same sentence 3 times. And then comes the craving, that pull towards something sweet or a second cup of coffee just to claw your way back to feeling normal. And underneath all of it is the frustration that really stings. You look in the mirror or you step on the scale and you think, I'm eating healthy. I gave up the junk. I'm doing everything they told me to do. So why am I still tired? Why is my skin looking older? Why is this weight creeping on anyway? Here's what I need you to hear because it matters. That is not laziness. That is not a lack of willpower. You are not failing. You've been doing exactly what you were taught to do. You picked the box with the healthy words on it. The problem was never your discipline, it was the food quietly working against you the whole time. That crash at 10, that's not a character flaw, that's blood sugar. That's biology responding exactly the way it's designed to. Once you see it that way, a huge weight lifts. It was never about trying harder, it was about eating something that finally works with your body instead of against it. You've been doing everything right, so why hasn't anyone told you this? Here's why. Right about now, the skeptic in you is speaking up, and good, it should. You're thinking, if this were really true, wouldn't my doctor have mentioned it? Wouldn't it say so on the box? That's a fair, smart question. Let me answer it honestly. Start with the label. Food companies are allowed to highlight the flattering parts. If a product contains oats or a little fiber, they can splash whole grain and heart healthy right across the front, even when that same product is loaded with added sugar. Nothing on that cheerful packaging is legally required to warn you how fast it spikes your blood sugar. The marketing isn't lying exactly, it's just showing you one hand while the other stays hidden. Then there's history. A lot of the nutrition advice many of us grew up with came from an era that was terrified of fat and told us to build our meals on grains. Remember the old food pyramid with bread and cereal forming the giant base? That thinking shaped a generation of breakfast habits. Our understanding has moved forward since then, but old advice has a long shelf life. It gets passed down, repeated, and rarely questioned. And your doctor? Most doctors are genuinely brilliant, caring people, but the average physician receives surprisingly little training in nutrition. They're trained to treat disease, not to fine tune your breakfast. So when nothing shows up as obviously wrong, the conversation about your morning oatmeal simply never happens. None of this requires a grand conspiracy. It's simpler and more human than that. It's clever marketing, outdated guidelines that overstayed their welcome, and a medical system focused on sickness rather than the slow, everyday wear that quietly ages us. That's how something this ordinary hides in plain sight for years. Not because anyone's plotting against you, but because no one was ever really looking out for this on your behalf. Now that you know the trap, let me show you what actually protects you, starting with what to eat instead. Here's the good news, and it's genuinely good. Fixing this is not complicated. You don't need exotic ingredients or a chef's schedule. You just need to build your breakfast on a completely different foundation. The old foundation was fast sugar. The new one rests on three simple pillars: protein, healthy fat, and fiber. Get those three working together, and everything changes. Start with protein because it's the anchor. Protein digests slowly and helps you feel genuinely full. Studies on protein and appetite consistently show it's more satisfying than the same amount of carbs. That's why a protein forward breakfast tends to keep the 10 o'clock crash from ever arriving. Think eggs, cooked any way you like. Think plain unsweetened Greek yogurt. Not the sugary flavored cups, but the thick, tangy kind you sweeten yourself with a little fruit. Next, Add healthy fat. Fat slows digestion even further and adds a satisfaction that keeps cravings quiet. A handful of nuts, some seeds sprinkled on top, a few slices of avocado, a drizzle of good olive oil on your eggs. Then bring in real fiber, the kind that comes with its food intact, not stripped out. A handful of berries, which are lower in sugar than most fruit and rich in fiber. Some vegetables folded into an omelette. And yes, oats can still have a place here, just the thick, minimally processed kind in a reasonable portion, paired with protein and fat so they don't spike you. Do you see the pattern? Every one of these foods slows things down. Instead of a sugar wave that crashes, you get a slow, steady release of energy that carries you for hours. Steady energy, steady mood, steady blood sugar. That's the whole game. And when your blood sugar stays steady, you're producing far fewer of those aging AGEs we talked about. You're literally eating in a way that protects your skin and your arteries one breakfast at a time. Before I give you the exact morning protocol, the simple step by step routine you can start tomorrow, I want to quickly mention something that makes this even easier. I know I've thrown a lot at you, the foods to skip, the pillars to build on, and I don't want you to have to remember all of it from memory or scribble notes while you watch. So I put together a free one-page anti-aging breakfast cheat sheet. It's simple. On one side, the sneaky, healthy breakfast to leave behind. On the other, a grab and go list of blood sugar friendly foods and easy combinations you can mix and match on any busy morning. Print it, stick it on the fridge, and you'll never have to guess again. It's completely free. My way of saying thank you for spending this time with me. You'll find the link waiting for you down in the description below. Go ahead and grab it now before you forget and this video scrolls away. It takes 10 seconds and future you standing sleepy in the kitchen tomorrow morning will be so glad it's right there on the fridge. Okay, now let's put it all together into a simple morning routine anyone can follow. Here's your step by step morning routine. Nothing fancy, nothing you can't start tomorrow, just follow the order. Step 1, hydrate before you do anything else. You've gone all night without water and your body wakes up mildly dehydrated. Before the coffee, before the food, drink a full glass of water. It helps you feel more alert and keeps you from mistaking thirst for hunger later on. Step 2, make protein the star of your plate. This is the single most powerful change you can make. A common, sensible target many nutrition experts suggest is somewhere in the range of 20 to 30 grams of protein at breakfast, but you don't need to obsess over the exact number. In real terms, that might look like 2 or 3 eggs, or a bowl of plain Greek yogurt, or a protein rich shake. Build the meal around that first and let everything else support it. Step 3, never eat your carbs naked. This is the golden rule. If you're going to have oats, fruit, or toast, always pair it with protein and fat. That combination slows the whole thing down and blunts the spike. Sugar plus protein plus fat behaves completely differently in your body than sugar all by itself. So it's not oatmeal and juice, it's a small portion of thick oats with Greek yogurt, nuts, and a few berries stirred in. Step 4, make your swaps automatic. Trade the flavored instant packet for thick, plain oats you sweeten yourself with cinnamon and berries. Trade the sweetened yogurt for the plain, tangy kind. Trade the juice for whole fruit and water. Same effort, completely different result inside your body. Step 5, and this one's a bonus. Move a little and get some light. A short 10-minute walk after breakfast can help your muscles soak up blood sugar and blunt the spike even more. and stepping into morning sunlight helps set your body's internal clock, which supports better energy and sleep. Together, they're a small effort with an outsized payoff. That's the whole routine. Hydrate, prioritize protein, pair your carbs, make smart swaps, add a walk and some light if you can. Five simple moves, and not one of them requires willpower once it becomes habit. Do this consistently, and here's what you can realistically expect in the coming weeks. Let me be honest with you, because I respect you too much to overpromise. This is not magic. You will not wake up tomorrow 10 years younger. What you can expect is more like a quiet, steady shift. In the first few days, many people notice the 10 o'clock crash simply doesn't show up anymore. The energy stays level. The desperate mid morning cravings fade because you're actually full. Give it a few weeks, and the deeper changes tend to follow. Steadier energy all day, fewer cravings, often easier weight management because you're no longer riding that sugar roller coaster. And the skin and long term benefits build slowly and quietly over months. That's the nature of protecting your collagen and arteries. Real change is gradual. That's exactly why it lasts. Now, one important caveat, and please take this seriously. Everything I've shared is general education, not medical advice. I don't know your body, your history, or your medications. If you have diabetes, take blood sugar medication, or manage any health condition, changes to your breakfast can genuinely affect you, sometimes quickly. So, talk with your doctor or a registered dietitian before making big changes. This works best as a partnership with someone who knows your health. Start small, change one breakfast, notice how you feel. Let your own results become your proof. There's one more piece to this that I couldn't fit here, and it's just as important. Before you go, let's make sure this actually sticks, because knowing it and doing it are two different things. Grab that free anti aging breakfast cheat sheet I mentioned. The link is right there in the description. Print it, put it on your fridge, and tomorrow morning, you'll have every swap and every smart combination right in front of you. No memory required, no guesswork. It's the easiest way to turn everything you learned today into something you'll actually do. And here's the piece I couldn't fit into this video. Because if that healthy breakfast surprised you, there's a drink, one that millions sip every single day, believing it's practically a health tonic that may be spiking your blood sugar just as badly, if not worse. Most people have no idea. I break the whole thing down in my next video, and I really don't want you to miss it. So do two quick things for me. Subscribe so these truths keep finding their way to you, and click that next video to keep going, because this is really just the beginning. Here's what I want you to walk away believing today. Aging is not something that simply happens to you while you stand by helplessly. So much of how you age is shaped by small, ordinary choices, starting with the very first thing you eat each morning. You're not powerless here, you're in control, and it starts at your next breakfast.